Hi children, good morning. This is Madhukar. I am your chess coach. Today we will learn more about night and its movement. Night's movements are unique and is difficult to understand, so please practice it daily. The knight is a piece which is represented by the horse head. Knight has 3 points in the chess game. Only knight can jump over the other pieces. Knight is the only piece which changes the color of the chessboard square with every move it makes. Knights and the pawns are the only pieces that can be moved in the initial position. Knights can control maximum of 8 square when it is placed on the center of the chessboard. Piece notation of knight is denoted by the capital letter N. Now we will see how the knights are arranged on the chessboard. One of the knight is placed on the square B1 on the chessboard. So the notation for the knight on the chessboard is NB1. Another white knight is placed on the square G1. So the notation for the knight is NG1. The initial position of the white knights are NB1 and NG1. One of the black knight is placed on the square B8. So the notation for the knight is NB8. The another black knight is placed on the square G8. So the notation for the knight is NG8. So the initial position of the black knights are NB8 and NG8. Now we will see how the knights are moved in the chess game. Knights are moved in L shape, which are 2 moves horizontal and 1 move vertical, or 2 moves vertical and 1 move horizontal. Now we will take the example of the knight which is placed in B1. This knight can be moved 2 moves vertically forward and 1 move horizontally towards right. So it can move to the square C3. The notation for this move is NC3. This knight can also be moved 2 moves vertically forward and 1 move horizontally towards left. So it can move to the square A3. And for the notation for this move is NA3. This knight can also be moved horizontally 2 moves right and vertically 1 move forward. So it can move to the square D2. So the notation for this move is ND2. In this case, knight can only be moved to 3 places, that is NC3, NA3 and ND2 because of the chessboard boundary. So this knight which is placed in light square will move to dark square with every move it makes. In this example, we will see all the movement of the knight in the chessboard. We know knight moves in L shape. Now we will see all the combination of L shape where the knight can move. Knight which is placed in D4 can be moved to F5. That is 2 moves horizontally towards right and 1 move vertically forward. So we have to write the notation NF5 for this move. Another move for ND4 is NE6. That is, this knight can move 2 steps vertically forward and 1 step horizontally towards right. Another move for ND4 is NC6. This knight moved 2 moves vertically forward and 1 move horizontally towards left. Another move for ND4 is NB5. This knight moves 2 moves horizontally left and 1 move vertically forward. Another move for ND4 is NB3. This knight moves 2 moves horizontally left and 1 move vertically backward. ND4 can also move to NC2. This piece moves 2 steps vertically downwards and 1 step horizontally towards left. Another move for ND4 is NE2. This piece moves 2 steps vertically backward and 1 step horizontally towards right. Lastly, the D4 knight can move to F3. So the notation of this move is NF3. That is 2 moves horizontally towards right and 1 move vertically downward. So the knight which is placed in the center of the board can move to 8 places. That is, this knight can control 8 places. In this example, knight which is placed in D4 can move to F5, E6, C6, B5, P3, C2, E2 and F3, which means D4 knight can control all these 8 places. So this knight which is placed in dark square will move to light square with every move it makes. Now we will see the black knight how it moves. In this example, black knight is placed in f6. So the notation of this piece is nf6. We know that knight moves in L shape in any direction. So this knight which is placed in f6 can move to g8, that is ng8. It can move to e8, that is ne8. It can also move to d7, that is nd7. The knight which is in f6 can move to d5, that is nd5. The knight which is in f6 can move to e4, that is ne4. This knight can also move to g4, that is ng4. This knight can also control or move to h5, that is nh5. Lastly, it can control or move to h7, that is nh7. So, this knight which is placed in f6 can move to or controls g8, e8, d7, d5, e4, g4, h5 and h7. Now we'll see how the knight captures the opponent piece. The knight captures the piece in the same way as it moves regularly. In this example, we are seeing white knight placed in d5, that is nd5, and the black two pawns are placed in d7 and e7. So what do you think, children? Which piece will the knight captures? So as I told children, the knight captures the same way as it moves regularly. So it captures e7 pawn. There is a slight difference while writing the notation of this move. We have to add X symbol in between the capturing piece and the piece it is capturing. So what we have to write, children? We have to write n into e7. We can also call it as n cut e7. In this example, we see black knight is placed in e3, that is ne3, and white queen is placed in g4, that is qg4. Here, knight can capture the queen. So what we have to write the notation for this knight capturing the queen? So the notation for this move is n into qg4, that is n cut qg4, or you can simply write it as n into q, since there is no ambiguity in this move. In this example, we are seeing one black knight and two white rooks. Here, this knight can capture any of the rook. So we have to specifically mention which rook it is capturing while writing the notation. We cannot say n into r because we will not understand which rook it is. Suppose if this knight captures the rook which is in b4, we have to write n into r b4. Suppose if this knight captures the rook which is in c7, we have to write n into r c7 or n cut r c7. Here we see there are two white knights, two black pawn and one bishop. These knights cannot capture any of the pawns since knight captures the piece which is in a position of its move, that is L shape, with two moves vertically and one move horizontally or vice versa. But both the knights can capture the bishop which is in e5. In this case, how we have to write the notation, children? We cannot write n into be5 or n into b, because if we write like this, we don't know which knight is capturing the bishop. Here nc4 is cutting be5, so we have to write nc4 into b or nc into b. In this case, nf3 is cutting be5, so we have to write nf3 into b or simply nf into b. Now we will see the summary of the knight what we have learned so far. White has two knights that are arranged in b1 and g1 position. Black has two knights that are arranged in b8 and g8 position. The knight is a piece represented by or set in the chess game. Knights are the only piece which jumps over other pieces. Each knight has 3 points in the chess game. Knight moves in L shape, that is 2 moves horizontal and 1 move vertical, or 2 moves vertical and 1 move horizontal. Knight is the only piece which changes the color of the chessboard square with every move it makes. The piece notation of knight is denoted by capital letter N. Knight captures the same way as it moves regularly. Knights and pawns are the only pieces that can be moved in the initial position. Knights can control maximum of 8 square when it is placed in the center of the chessboard. Thank you children. Keep practicing and have a wonderful day.